Amber. What's going on today?
Hello, well welcome to Oak Tree Clinic at BC Women's Hospital. Today we're going to go through the BCC3 study visit, and thank you so much for coming in.
What's the BCC3 study about?
So the BCC3 study is a study looking at women's healthy aging, and it is women-centered, has a holistic approach, and we look at aging from cell to society. What that means is that we're looking at the social, environmental, clinical, and cellular factors that affect women's healthy aging. Also, women living with HIV have been an integral part of the study from the beginning when it was created all the way through to knowledge translation.
Is this the clinic entrance?
Yeah, so Oak Tree Clinic is a clinic for women and families affected by or living with HIV, and it follows a woman-centered and trauma-aware care approach.
Wow, that's great. Where do we start?
Yeah, well, come with me. So the BCC3 study has two study visits. The first one is the clinical visit, which takes place here at Oak Tree Clinic. And then the second one is a community visit, which is done online, over the phone, or in person. And so for the clinical visit, I'm going to introduce you to Sophie, who's going to go over what's involved in the visit, the consent process, and what's involved in the clinical visit, as well as what we're going to do with the biospecimen samples.
Hi, Sophie. What's the first part of the study?
Oh, hi, Shada. Thank you so much for your time and participation today. Your voice and input are extremely important to our study. So we'll start off our visit today by going through some informed consent forms together. So that'll include what your participation today will include, as well as your rights as a participant. And then we'll go over how you and your information will be kept confidential, private, and as safe as possible. Then you'll have an opportunity to ask me any questions that you might have about the study.
That's great. What's next?
So next step is to head on over to the clinic and get some samples done. All right, so now we'll get started with the blood sample. So for our study, we collect about 3 tablespoons worth of blood, which helps us to learn more about many different markers of health. Then we'll head on over to another little room to do your height, weight, waist circumference, as well as your blood pressure. And we'll finish up the samples with 2 mouth swabs, a urine sample, a hair sample, as well as an optional self-collected rectal swab, which will help us learn more about your gut health.
Wow, that's a lot of samples. What's all that for?
So our samples help us to learn a lot about different markers of health. For example, the hair sample teaches us about cortisol, a stress hormone. The blood samples help us to learn more about different reproductive hormones like estrogen, as well as your cellular age or how old your cells are. And the rectal swab helps us to learn about the different bacteria in your gut and how that could impact various other health outcomes.
Oh, very cool. So where do we go next?
Follow me. All right, so the final part of the clinical visit is our survey. So our survey goes over some basic demographics as well as your medical, reproductive, and substance use history. So in total, the whole clinical visit takes about 2 to 2.5 hours.
That's really interesting. What happens next?
Next, I'll hand you over to Amber to tell you a little bit more about the community visit.
Hi Shada, so the community visit is a survey that goes over the social and environmental factors that affect women's health. It's led by a peer research associate who's a woman living with HIV that'll guide you through the visit. Now I'll pass you on to Elder Valerie Nicholson, who is our lead knowledge user and community co-investigator.
Hi Shada, thanks for taking this time today to learn about this study. Great to meet you. The last step of the BCC3 study visit is to do the community survey.
Great. What's this survey about?
We'll go through questions about different life experiences, including stress, stigma, discrimination, mental, or as I call it, mind health, well-being, social supports, and resilience. This survey usually takes about an hour to an hour and a half. And it includes social and environmental factors, which helps to create a more holistic approach to learning about healthy aging, like I'm trying to do.
What happens with all of the data?
Next, our team works together to analyze this data so that we can learn about healthy aging and communicate it with the world. I'll let Doctors Helen Cote, Melanie Murray, and Angela Kaida to explain. They're the lead researchers on this study.
Hi everyone, I just learned all about the BCC3 study. Elder Valerie said you could tell me more about what happens with all of that data you're collecting.
Well, first we have to analyze all that data and answer some pretty important questions. We want to know how HIV and other viruses may affect the aging of our immune cells and their ability to fight disease, not only infections, but also things like cancer. We also want to know whether the hormones are affected in women living with HIV, and if so, how that may affect their aging process. And finally, it's important to know how social factors play into all this. Things like stress, poverty, stigma, that could also play a role in women's health and their aging.
And once we answer those questions, we need to share what we've learned with the scientific community, healthcare workers, and the general community living with HIV. And we would do that through scientific conferences where we present the data, by publishing in scientific journals, and through knowledge translation and exchange events taking place with community, with other scientists, and with clinicians.
That's great. So where can we expect to find this information?
You can look out for news on our website at www.hivhearme.ca or on Twitter at HIV_hear_me. This information can be used by doctors, researchers, and community organizations to improve women-centered HIV care. It can be used by our friends at AIDS Vancouver, Friends for Life, Heart of Richmond, and Youth Co. And the information can be used to empower women to learn about their own health and their own healthy aging.
Thanks so much. This is so thorough and comprehensive. It's really impressive. I really like the way you're taking a holistic approach to better understanding healthy aging in women. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing more about the study in the future. Take care.